So I read in the news this morning that the man who invented predictive text died yesterday. His funfair will be next Monkey. I thought for Valentine's Day I'd get Carol a fur coat made out of 3,600 hamster skins. I took her to Blackpool and it took her nearly 3 days to get off the big wheel. Speaking of hamsters, my grandfather, he was a fierce man. He had balls of a honey badger and the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the local zoo. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the Black Dog 162. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm wondering where all these jokes came from.
Well,
Don't think about it too much. Elton.
Yes,
No,
if I ever tell
They
you
were actual jokes.
they were actual jokes. Yes,
Don't encourage him.
yeah. There you go. Sometimes it happens. Think a stop
Broken
clock is
clock,
right.
yeah.
A broken clock, right? At least once a day, or twice a day, even. That's how clocks work. Stop it. Anyway, hello everyone, and yes, welcome to this week's episode. As ever, we'll see how everyone's week's been, except Elton, who's abstaining this week, aren't you?
Yeah, balls
Yep.
to that.
Yeah, balls to that. And and then we'll be on to a bit of feedback. We have a one-off, single one-off section for the feedback, which will not be repeated again. We hope. But that'll be there. And then we'll move on to this week's movie, which is your choice, Jim, which is
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl, yes. So just in time for Valentine's Day, when this episode will drop, you can talk about the most romantic movie of the 2020s. Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in due course. Anyway, let's see how everyone's week's been, and we'll start with you, Jim. How's it been, sir?
Not too bad. I say I'm back on the dreaded no milk, no dairy antibiotics this time for a fortnight to get rid of this stupid lung infection. So if I do start coughing, I apologise.
No problems. No
Sounding a bit
problems at all.
throaty tonight, but yeah. So hopefully it'll do the trick. But it's like, oh, get rid of this thing. It's really pissing me off now.
Yeah.
As I say, 'cause I'm not actually feeling that poorly per se.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's kind of that's partly annoying. If I'm not really ill, I just had to go to bed and I could do nothing. I'd be happy with that. The fact is, I can actually do pretty much everything, but I've just got a terrible cough, which I shouldn't have. So anyhow, but other than that, I've been rather addicted to an Xbox game.
Okay.
It's an old game, but it's one I'd not got around to playing back in the day because when it came out 10 years ago, my then PC just wasn't up to doing it.
Okay.
But then it was on sale on the Xbox. I thought I'll give that a go, and it is Thief from 2014, which is the fourth Thief game, and I loved the others. The first two I played tons of because there's a good community and tons of really good fan missions back in the day. And I was going, how's it going to work on a controller? Actually, pretty well.
Yeah.
There's a few things that do annoy fans, but they're kind of like nitpicky continuity stuff, and a few things like in the original game, which was even older, you could like fire a rope arrow pretty much into anything and climb into some places the game's designers never intended you to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, famously, I think it's in, I can't remember what Thief 1 or 2, there is a space you can get in through like a window that you're not supposed to be there, and there is actually a little plaque from the developer saying, "What are you doing in here? You're not supposed to be in here. Get down now."
Yeah. Nice.
But other than that, you're a bit restricted to that, but it does work really well. It has just all the ingredients for a proper Thief game. Massive levels that you end up crouching in a corner, hiding from guards and God knows what else, going, what the fuck am I doing in here? Why did I accept this job? I fucked this up, but now I can't get out. What do I do?
Yeah.
Which is the quintessential experience of the Thief game, being the original stealth stealth game, and that is just literally cowering in a corner in the dark, not daring to move for about 15 minutes till everything calms the fuck down.
Sit in the corner simulator.
Yep.
But no, I was very impressed. It has all the right elements, like with every mission. You can go about it in a variety of ways, depending on your play style or your level of idiocy or brass balls. And they said there's in between the missions, you are in a city which you can explore and just randomly rob places and do side missions, and it's all really, really, really good fun. It's kind of, oh, this is the business. And as it was going, I'll have to get all the old Thief games working now, and it's going, can I get them working on my big telly and play them with a controller? That might be my forthgoing project.
Nice. That sounds like a winner, to be honest.
It does, yes.
Bit of retro
for
action.
older games, like a little mini PC.
Yeah, like a Raspberry Pi 5 now. That'll probably do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's an ongoing project for the spring. But so currently, I'm still just enjoying playing the game. It has that, it's hit all the right boxes for me. I.e., if I'm doing a level, I have to get every scrap of loot. Even it means endangering myself needlessly, I've got to do that. So I am a master thief. This is the challenge. I will have all the collectibles.
Oh, yes.
I will find and steal everything. I will read all the books and all the documents. I will tick off everything and pick all the pockets.
I will use all the toilet roll in this house.
Yeah. Well, that was a great thing with Thief. You sort of set yourself these challenges because it's good practice if you knock out a guard or a civilian to hide the body so other people don't find it and raise the alarm. However, back in the old days, we used to play with a friend. We'd have like challenges to try and knock out everyone in the building, but then leave them all in one specific room in a massive pile. Just to imagine the awkward questions in the morning.
Yeah, it's all morning. What's happened, sire? Jesus Christ! Should we come back?
This new one is because I can't remember what version of the Unreal Engine it is. The ragdoll physics for the bodies when you drop people down is very, very entertaining. Just drop one at the top of the stairs and watch them slide all the way down. Hours of fun.
Nice.
So yeah, I've greatly enjoyed that. So it's currently only a couple of quid now. If you're looking for a very engrossing game that you really like, the fun of the Thief games is you really have to think. There's always like work out the best way to do something, whether do the violent route, storm in there, or do it completely by stealth or whatever. And it's just stupidly large levels. Just kind of this is the business. Kind of like the old style Doom levels.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like you're completely lost and going, what the fuck have I got myself into?
Where on earth am I?
Yeah. So yeah, tons of fun. Locks to pick, safes to crack open.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm really been enjoying that, and it'll keep me going for quite a while, I think.
Yes. Any plans to follow in Elton's footsteps with a YouTube video of you slowly taking down an entire castle one by one?
It's tempting. I've been toying with the idea of doing a playthrough of some of the old games, and because it's a while since I've done a few, and it would be fun to do a playthrough and even maybe record a playthrough of the original Thief, The Dark Project.
Oh, God blimey, yeah.
Which I was very good at back in the day. Whether I am now is...
Yeah.
Is it like riding a bike?
No.
You never forget how to blackjack someone's.
Well, good luck with that. I was going to say some of the older games. I love retro gaming, but some of those older games you start playing them and you're like, by the end, it's like, how on earth did I ever play this?
Yeah, the difficulty level is quite considerable on some of them.
Yes, definitely. Cool. Anything else, sir?
No, I think I will leave that there.
Oh, right. Okay, then. Fair enough. Well, we shall skip lightly over Elton, who's grumbling in the corner about things that he can't talk about on podcast. Isn't that right, Elton?
No, I don't know what you're on about.
Right, brilliant. So, so we'll skip lightly over you. Is the person you're complaining about in episode 1? No. Sorry. Sorry, we had to get you in there somewhere. We have to mock you at least once.
No, this is a running joke. I think we get paid every time we run that joke, don't we?
Well, I do. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, really?
Check the contracts.
Wonder where the paycheck was.
Yeah. There's no paycheck. Shush. Anyway, yes. So we'll move on to you then, Dal. How's your week been, sir?
Oh, stressful.
Okay.
Just a little bit stressful. It seems it's been a weekend of breakage for us. Things have just broken.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just when we think, we've got a bit of money saved. Look at this. We've got some money put by. This is great. We can look forward to doing some stuff with it. And then shit breaks, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
It started off on the Friday when the back of my phone just dropped off. That was it. It just I picked my phone up and I heard clang. I looked round and the back of my phone, which isn't supposed to come off, was sat there on the desk at work with the all the back exposed and everything. It's like, oh, fucking marvellous.
But then,
Especially...
them 3300s just clip back in, though, don't they?
Ha! You're so funny.
No, it's the phone. It's the phone with the eyes that you pull along with the wheels on it.
No, you're all wrong. It's the one with the transmitter mast on top of it that I have to pull out for 3 weeks to extend it to actually get a signal. So
does it tinkle with a little tiny bell as you pull it along, Dal?
My Nokia 3310, I'll have you this, has been with me for a while and the back just fell off. No.
You should go to the car phone warehouse.
I've got to fucking go somewhere, I'll tell you that now. But so let's see, there was that. Then what else broke? It was the oven stopped working. And found out that fortunately it had just tripped the switch out back, but that got us going a little bit there.
But you don't use your oven, you use an air fat fryer, don't you?
Well, there was something else we needed to cook in it, something bigger than the actual air fryer. So,
oh my god!
Oh, limitations! Ooh.
Are you telling me? Are you telling me that the air fryer isn't doing the job, mate?
The limitations of our women.
The lamentations of the women. Get it right.
Laminations of the croissant.
Yeah. If you're going to use that as an insult, all right, at least say it correctly, okay? Take my fucking pedant hat off now. There we go. And say it with the right accent as well.
The lamentations of the women.
Women. I say, yeah, it's women. Not women, it's women.
Hear the lamentations of the women.
Question.
Yep.
Is your oven gas or electric?
It's electric.
Okay. Second question. So it tripped.
It tripped.
Why did it trip?
Don't know. But I've got a feeling something else is probably going to happen to it. So, there you go.
Yeah, your coil's probably on its way out.
It's probably something like the heating element or whatever it is they call it.
Yes, that's what they call it in the shops. Yeah. The heating element. Yes,
I believe that the technical term is the fucking fucker's fucking fucked.
Yes, the fucking fucker. It sounds like it's fucking fucked. So let's see what else broke after that.
I have a website for you if you wish. You can buy the part and then you can video yourself changing the part, and we all get fun out of that.
Oh right, great.
I'll
stuff.
do it. I'll put it. I'll fix it.
No, you won't.
Yes,
no,
I will. I'm good at it.
You know what? I've got a good relationship with my landlord, and I'd like it to stay that way. Thanks very much.
Fucking
I'm sure he probably knows about you anyway. So there we go.
I'm on a blacklist somewhere.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I haven't told him that I know you at all because I thought that might affect his attitude towards me. Come sort of like rent renewal.
Ever since I lost my first ever deposit for my first ever rental. Because I put a 400-degree hot pan on the tabletop and left a scorch mark.
You absolute genius.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I was hungry. I didn't think about it. I just put the pan on the side. Just whatever.
Christ Almighty.
Not my problem.
You really needed Carol, didn't you? You just needed her to come along.
I would not have made it to this ripe old age.
You just would not have just survived up until this point in time without your long-suffering wife.
No lies detected.
So anyway, after the cooker incident,
yes,
I picked up my beard trimmer and the fucking end of that just disintegrated. I walked into the living room. I'm like, can you fucking believe this? And it's just like bits of metal and plastic in my hand. So that went.
You sure that was the beard trimmer? You sure your eyes haven't gone and you just picked up you picked some other vibrating device nearby?
It was the beard trimmer.
All right,
definitely the beard trimmer. and then on Sunday we were going to go shopping, and then the car stopped working. That was it. We switched it on, and it's like all this. Every time we tried to switch it on, a different thing came up on the readout. Turns out it was the battery that went.
Well, that's not too bad, I guess.
Well, we got somebody to come out and take a look at it. So that was also stressful because they had to come back the next day to bring the correct battery for the car. So there was that. So on Monday, it was the whole stress of trying to get the bloke to where we live because apparently, SatNav doesn't exist. And they just asked for a fucking postcode from the insurance company. That's all they had. And so it's like, oh, come along to our house. Gonna guess which one it is. And so I'm trying to guide this bloke from Tesco's down the road up to where we are. He missed the turning to begin with. He went all the way round and had to come down.
The guy who was changing your battery and fixing your car was from Tesco's.
No, he came. No, the guy who was bringing it back came to Tesco's, and he just basically got lost.
For you.
He could have. Oh man! So we've got the battery fitted at last. We've switched it on, and nothing kind of has exploded or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah. So there you go.
Right. Other than that, how's your week?
Pretty shit. Pretty shit. I think the only thing I'm looking forward to is the Tomb Raider remaster that's coming out, which hits tomorrow, actually.
Oh, right.
So, that's one thing. But then again, I'll probably get that and probably find that's fucking broken as well.
Well, you probably find your Xbox explodes as you turn it on. Are you sure you're not in the remake of The Money Pit? Like, you're going to put the turkey in the oven and it's just going to fire out across the kitchen and...
Or it's that, that sketch with Arsenio Hall in Amazon Women on the Moon. That's me. That's my fucking weekend.
You're gonna get eaten by the garbage disposal.
Yeah, put a disc in a fucking CD player and it fires out and hits me right in the fucking forehead, right between the eyeballs.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh well.
So apart from that, have I done anything?
The remake.
Just stress.
What remake is being made?
It's Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3. And they've been reskinned, basically. Watching one of the guys do a little pre-playthrough, they haven't actually... this is the thing. They haven't actually redone the cinematic intro to it. So they've not retextured it or anything. So it still looks like a cheap and nasty CD-ROM film at the beginning of that. But it makes the graphics in the game now look a lot better. So, So, Lara Croft now, instead of having pointy boobs in the original, now has rounded ones. So there we go.
Well, there you go. That's
progress, isn't it?
That's progress.
You
say that. There is actually, I think it's Dead or Alive, the game Dead or Alive, the fighting game, where they actually had a team study the physics of how a breast moves and that they spent the most amount of time on that, apparently.
Wasn't there like a sliding ruler that you could move how jiggly they were?
I think there was.
Jiggle physics. The jiggle physics. The jiggle physics was for Dead or Alive beach volleyball.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the one I mean. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, whereas Dead or Alive, the ass-kicking video game had jiggle physics, but it had no sliders. It was just all on, and every lady in the game jiggled like basically she was made out
and
of
had black eyes. Yeah,
like they were made out of jelly. Yeah, jelly in a paint mixer.
Crazy. It's like, could you not just improve the game overall? So you dedicated an entire team. Oh yeah, it's funny that lots of them wanted to come along and join our team. I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah, this is great conversation ahead of the let's talk about sexism film we're about to hit. This is really setting up our bona fides, isn't it?
But jiggly boobs.
Jiggly boobs.
The physics of that. Yes.
Mm. Oh right. Okay.
So yeah. So it's Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3. It does look nice. You can actually switch between the two as you're playing it as well, and sometimes that is to your advantage, because what they do is it's like, oh well, we're upgrading it. So I'll tell you what, in this bit here where it was like a bit sparse of anything like trees or bushes, let's just bunk some in now, right? And you see this guy was switching between the two, so he could actually find things like medipacks on the floor. Go to the new one, can't see it. Switch that off. It's like somebody's done some gardening, and oh, there we go. It's a medipack. We'll have that.
Right. Okay.
So there you go. But yeah, we'll see how that pans. Going to give that a good playthrough tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to that when you come back watching it. Going, I've paid how much for this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. My Xbox is on fire.
It's not even on the Xbox. I've got this on the laptop. So.
Oh right. Okay. Fair enough. Cool. Right. Anything else, or is that it for your week?
I think that's about it.
Okie dokie.
Really? Yeah.
Cool.
That's right. Yep.
No worries. And so my week. Well, what's happened with my week? I did do some drawing at the Royal Academy of Arts. I did the Saturday Sketch Club, which was very cool. No pictures. I'm not going to share any pictures because I'm just doing it for me. But yeah, I did watch a few films this weekend.
Really? Did you, Lee?
Yes, I did.
Right.
I did watch a few films.
I didn't see anything come up on your Facebook at all about watching a film. No, not at all. No.
Well, the first one I watched, because I sometimes you just sit down and you go, you know what? Let's just see if I can just catch up with a few bits and bobs, stuff that I've missed. I don't necessarily want it to be the greatest thing ever, but
Rise of Skywalker. Have you finally done it?
No, I haven't done that. No.
You've not opened the bottle on that one.
I've still not done that. I'll tell you what, if we're going to do Rise of Skywalker, all of us have to do the sequel trilogy, because we haven't. That's the only 3 Star Wars we haven't reviewed on the podcast. So there you go. So if I'm going down, you're all coming with me.
God no.
Well, I haven't. Like I say, I haven't watched Rise of Skywalker. I still haven't. So I thought, you know what? I looked on Disney, and there it was, the Marvels. Now,
can I just get a drink before you start this? Okay, because this is gonna. I think we're going to be in for the haul on this one, aren't we? The long haul.
Well, you say that. I mean,
No. I know. I've just predict. Fast forward to the mark of 3 hours and 22. If you wish to listen to the rest of the podcast, it doesn't involve Lee talking about this film.
No. Do you know what? It's quite funny because it was one of those films where I sat down thinking I'm not expecting anything from this, and it went under that bar.
Really?
It sailed clean underneath it.
Limboed.
It was like the Limbo Man literally turned into a piece of paper and just slid under a door. I mean, I sat there thinking, well, you know what? One of the things that was always good about a Marvel film, especially the early Marvel films, is even though they've got all the connective tissue, it wasn't essential for you to have watched like 72 hours of backstory of Farty Man, the extra long wibbly job or whatever
was
it is from
Captain America's sidekick at one point or something? I don't remember him in it. Is that a Marvel film I've missed?
Yes.
Farty Man.
Farty Man. Yeah, it was a song. It was a song by Prince, as Jack Nicholson went through the prison.
All smell the new king in town.
Yeah, Farty Man, everybody farts, nobody can. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, so I started watching this thing, and I thought, do you know what? Okay, this is a good test because I've not been watching so many Marvel movies and Marvel content for a long while now, so I thought I'd give it a spin. I sat down Within 10 minutes, I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. Not a one. I'm thinking, who's this? Who are they? What's this? What's going on? Why am I caring about any of it? But then the film kind of settles down a little bit, and it kind of goes into a sort of standard Marvel fare of bad person who's really a good person doing bad things for a good reason, but they're bad, doing a bad thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, generic Marvel, middle of the road. But then what happens is they have a whole sequence where they go to a planet where you can only communicate via singing.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a sequence where you land on a planet and they have a kind of, oh, I look who has come to arrive, and it is the Princess of Diana. And you're like, and then an entire Bangra kind of festival thing springs up, and it's all trying to drop this plot on you, and you're thinking, right, why? And that and that kind of that feeling of, but why, kind of went through the rest of the movie all the way to the end. And I didn't feel interested. I wasn't excited. I barely understood what anyone's powers are all about. You know, 1 minute one person's powers are hard light powers, and another person's powers are hard light powers. So how are they same but somehow different? I can see everything in a spectrum of colors you can't see. Okay, right, that's a power. Oh yes, but now it allows me to control the universe. I didn't give a flying fuck by the end of it. Do you know there's only one sequence which actually I genuinely thought was quite funny and genuinely quite entertaining.
Which was?
Which was a scene with a bunch of cats.
Oh, yes, the Flurgans.
Have you seen this film then?
Oh, yeah, I went to see it, was it, when it came out at the cinema?
Right, and so have you been watching like the Miss Marvel TV show then?
Yes.
So you know all
well,
about Miss
Marvel. Well, if you
Marvel.
saw Captain Marvel, then you'd know about the cat.
Well, I know about the cat. No, I know
Yeah.
that. No. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about Miss Marvel, Kamala
yes.
Khan.
Yep.
So
That's
I didn't.
right.
Yeah. So I didn't watch that because the first episode made me motion sick, and I just thought, no, peace out. I'm fine. The problem with Marvels, not Marvel MCU, whatever, was that if you don't watch, if I hadn't watched the original Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would have absolutely zero clue about any of it. I wouldn't know why Nick Fury was suddenly on a space station, where S.H.I.E.L.D. had gone, who the lady who was all in white was. I'd have to watch the whole of WandaVision for that. Miss Marvel, and all of her family. I only worked out they were the family because the mum kept complaining about her. And
yeah. Of course, you have to watch Miss Marvel to find out who they were.
And but that was my problem. You see, whereas I could watch, pick a movie from like the early first 10 years, you can pick them, and there'll be bits in there that you go, okay, the fans are getting a little drop here and a little drop there, but this whole film literally just hung off of going, you know who that is, you know who that is, you know what that is, and you know why that is. And I knew nothing. So I've just come, and that's my problem. I came into a film with zero context, and I had to have watched X amount of stuff to get to it. So all I've got is the story it's being presented instead of the story that I should know in the background. So I'm sitting there looking at this going, this is absolute nonsense. And they, like the main villainess, she's walking around with this big hammer with purple light beaming out of it. And my recollection was that hammer was in Guardians of the Galaxy and it had an Infinity Stone in it. That's why it was purple. Now it isn't. It's just a magic hammer. Why? I don't know. Is it a standard hammer? Is that a hammer everything gets? Is it MC hammer? I don't know. Anyway, the point was
MCU hammer.
MCU hammer. I mean, the fact of the matter was, I just sat there looking at this film, completely disengaged from it. And apart from the scene with the kittens and trying to abandon the space station. Please do not run. Let the kittens eat you. While Elaine Page's memories play, I thought that was a very funny scene. But that's a scene that stands alone. You don't need that. Could be in anything, to be honest. And my problem was, I didn't know why the scrolls were where they were or anything. And I know it sounds like old man shouts at cloud because I'm coming in at like episode 25 of 25 movies, but even Captain America, sort of like the last one of them, relied on you only knowing who Captain America was. At this point, you'd think after 3 films, or 5 films, if you count the Avengers movies, you'd be kind of a bit clued up on that. Whereas this film,
it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
There was 20 characters, of which I only knew 2, and they didn't really interact for the entire film. So I just came away thinking. So I thought, you know what? I'll watch something else. Something a bit more light-hearted and a bit free and easy. And I said to Carol, what do you want to watch? And she said, a bit of action, Pap, a bit of cheesy action. I said, okay, fine.
Oh, God.
I'll leave this to you then. Go on, off you go. Came back in the room, and there was Expend4bles.
You know what I said about you really needed Carol?
I really don't.
It's a bit hit and miss sometimes, isn't it? I mean, all right, I think maybe it was a bit of a fluke. I take back what I said.
So
this is where he goes. She wasn't my first choice.
Yeah, I'll be honest. There's been times when we've both questioned our choices.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wow. There are movies which are dumb, and there are movies that are dumb and knowingly wink at the camera. Then there's movies which are dumb and take themselves far too seriously. And then there are movies which take things far too seriously, think they're making the next great American action movie, and have the budget of about 50p in a button, and half the big name stars don't actually turn up in it. Or if they do, they're in it for about 2 minutes to go, hello, collect a paycheck and then fuck off. This Expend4bles should just be called Sylvester Stallone's retirement fund. It really should, because he turns up in it for about 10 minutes.
Yep.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I've not actually seen.
I haven't seen any of them.
Any of them? Yeah, exactly. Do you know what it's going to be like? As he gets older, he's going to turn into like Charlie from Charlie's Angels. He won't even be on screen. It will just be like a voice box thing set on the side.
He's got a face with the consistency of dried out mashed potato right now.
I'm sorry, is there something wrong with Zoom?
I mean, I've seen adverts. I've seen adverts for recycling food that look more appetizing and easier on the eye than Sylvester Stallone's pasty porridge lumpen faced maw. And yeah, he turns up in it for about 10 minutes, and I don't care if it's a spoiler. This is a barely a 1-star film. His plane explodes, and he's out of the film for the rest of the film. He's in it for long enough to have his plane explode,
and that's it. He's dead.
Yep. And then the rest of the mission is a revenge mission, led by Megan Fox.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Was she in the other ones then?
No.
Oh, so she has she been alluded to in the other?
And
okay.
Jason Statham is kind of left out of the equation because
the budget ran out.
Because no, he does turn up in it, but what happens is he gets blamed for the mission that killed Stallone going south.
Oh.
And then he wants to take revenge on the people who did it. The person who did it is Tony Jaa from Ong Bak and The Raid. So you think, the bad guy's like a proper, Krav Maga kung fu kicking fucking hard ass. Nah, not really. He's he's in it for about 10 minutes, and he stands on the bridge of a very poorly rendered CGI tanker.
Right.
And the tanker just conveniently looks like a warehouse somewhere outside of Woolwich. And yeah, it's a film which back in the 80s would have had a budget of about 100 million quid and would have looked spectacular and loads of actual stunts and sets and things being blown up. What we actually get now is Jason Statham and 50 Cent. No joking.
Nice.
50 Cent.
50 Cent and Dolph Lundgren and Megan Fox fighting.
That sounds like the world's worst rap group. That really does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Fighting on green screens that are so obvious they make Michael Fish's weather reports look like fucking Phantom Menace.
Do they make those scenes on the rooftop in The Room actually look genuinely like the rooftop was in those cities? That they green screened on the back there. Yeah.
Yeah. The Room, it makes some of the visual effects in The Room look like Attack of the Clones. I mean, it really does. I mean, some of the stuff is so piss poor, it's not even funny. I mean, you can barely I just don't even know where to begin with it, really. But there's one bit when Barney, Sylvester Stallone's plane, is hit by a rocket, and it looked like something from Atlantic Rim. It really did. It's
really?
like, yeah, it literally has like smoke coming out of it, which is like Action Effects plugin on Photoshop, and the plane flies past, and the plane literally has like a copyright for Turbo Squid on the underside of it, and it kind of flutters past. And you're just like, oh, come on, guys. You couldn't even spring for that. And then when you see Megan Fox for the first time, the camera zooms in, tries to make her look all glamorous and everything. And, you know, no joking, you know, she's a good-looking girl. You know, that's what she is. You know, it's kind of her thing. She looks lovely and all this kind of stuff. But they put so much CGI filter on her face. No joking. It literally looks like
newly minted tub of face cream. Is that right?
It looks like you know when Noel Fielding played the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, that good, eh?
Yeah. The moon in Mighty Boosh. Hello, I'm the moon.
The moon.
Yeah. That was what Megan Fox looked like in the first opening scenes. Later on, when they jump forward in time a little bit, they decide to ease that off a bit, but I think it was more of a budgetary reason that they eased that off than a creative reason.
Nobody had 50 pence for the CGI machine then.
No, they had 50 cent for the acting.
50 cent for it.
But it was fucking awful. It really was bloody awful movie. No two ways about it. It was spectacular in how bad it was, but not only that, but how boring it was. There were bits I was laughing at, but I was laughing at them unintentionally because and when Andy Garcia turns up and you think, oh, okay, so they've got an actual actor in here. He turns up, he basically throws a file on the desk and goes, see you out there. And he just disappears. And then later on he turns up in a beret and it's like, oh, he's in for the action. And then he sort of disappears again for another like 50 minutes of the film. You think, yeah, you're doing the Christopher Plummer Star Crash route. You got a holiday out of this. And there's lots of that kind of shit. It's fucking awful film. It really is. But yeah, so Carol's not allowed the access to the controller anymore. She's been banned. It's no longer allowed. No longer allowed. It has been deemed to be so. Though
I'm shocked. I'm honestly quite disappointed that you picked that film. That's shifted the sort of the positions of power within your sort of, you know,
what
your little society there that you have at home.
No.
I always thought that, you know, Carol's the one that was, you know, made steered you right on things and stopped you from hurting yourself. But now I don't know.
in fairness, she steers me right on an awful lot of things, and there are a lot of reasons why I'm still talking to you today and not dead in a ditch on fire, trying to be put out by some nuclear waste disposal company. But one thing that she has is a weakness is trashy action movies, and one of the I don't know if you guys recall, but at one point we were going to do a season where our other halves picked a film on our behalf.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And so there was all sorts of stuff going around. There was a Jean de Florette, wasn't there? Or
I've still got them set up there on the shelf.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
That and the sequel.
Yeah. So there was all this kind of stuff floating about, and my contribution was going to be Carol was going to be the John Malkovich, Bruce Willis movie Red.
Lovely. That's just classy, man. That's just really is.
So that's also why that section was abandoned. Anyway, no, so maybe one day we'll come back to that. Okay, the Black Dog's better half, making the pick, but there you go. So yes, so Expend4bles is Frolics is what that is. And then I watched How to Train Your Dragon, which washed the taste right out of my mouth because that was bloody good film. What else? I think that's it. I'll leave it there. Yes. So we'll leave it there and we'll go on to feedback. Now, we were obviously watching Prison Ship Star Slammer. which really, really did well. Everyone loved it. I didn't get death threats through the texts or anything at all, I promise. But we did on the Facebook group get some feedback, which was from Jeffrey Mark Hyman, who said, "It wasn't an unpleasant Sunday afternoon background watch while I was building models. Spot the Stolen Map painting was also a fun game too." Jack Woodgate said, "God, this film was tooth-rattlingly bad." Rob Lamont said this film didn't have enough sexual stuff to be classed as smut, but not enough plot to be classed as a fun bad movie. So it fails at both. What makes it such a chore? That's what makes it such a chore and a crime to watch. However, Mike Burns, going back to my comments about Oppenheimer that I was watching last week, and I was terribly keen on the nuclear explosion, which was basically a bonfire in someone's back garden. He said, "Screw Nolan's Oppenheimer. I'd rather stick radioactive needles in my eyes for 3 hours. Trinity and Beyond is a far more entertaining film and documentary about the Trinity atomic bomb tests and the entire evolution of the nuclear bomb tests. Because 1, it uses actual footage, no shonky gas explosions. 2, it covers all the nuclear bomb tests, atomic and hydrogen, with lots of explosions. 3, the soundtrack is fantastic. 4, it's only 90 minutes long. 5, you can actually hear what people are saying. 6, it's narrated by William Shatner. And 7, it's free to watch on YouTube." And he left a link, so you can find the link for that, and it's on the Facebook group underneath the episode. And then we got one piece of feedback, which was so weird and so strange that we needed to do something special to celebrate it or commemorate it or at least acknowledge it. That piece of feedback was from Anne-Marie Organ of the Borgcast, which you can find on borgcast.libsyn.com, and they're covering things from Star Trek Strange New Worlds, an original series, through to Ulysses 31, which, they all have spaceships in them. There you go. But she had something to say, and we had to sort of acknowledge quite how bizarre it was. A little bit of work. So sit back, relax, and take a listen to this. And now, Black Dog presents Jim Moon's Dreamatorium with your host, Jim Moon.
So, last night, I dreamt a Black Dog episode. Sort of. Lee was talking about a Nick Cage film he'd seen called Knockout, about a boxer who was losing his sight. Lee was talking about the awful voiceover section where you discover that the reason Nick Cage's character is so upset about losing his sight is that he regularly wanks off in front of a full-length mirror because he finds himself so sexy. And soon, he won't be able to see himself anymore. And Nick Cage is giving this voiceover while out-of-focus images of his face float about on screen, punctuated by the occasional bell and knockout 1, knockout 2. Cue much laughter, and Elton, in a sarcastic tone, says, "Oh, they are clever, aren't they? Knockout is just a reference to boxing. You see what they did there? Do you see?" At which point Jim says that the character sounds like a right knob, and they could have just as easily have called the film Wanker. And then I woke up.
There you go.
That was beautiful, man. That was high art. That. So is that your 1000th type of podcast that you're going to be doing, Jim? Because I mean, you do a fair few as it is. So are you gonna? Is this going to be another one you're adding to the multitude, the absolute?
It depends if people dream up more Black Dog episodes.
Oh, the blue touch paper now. That's it.
Yeah. Jim, didn't we discuss this off air? Don't encourage them.
Oh, it's too late now. I can hear them. I can hear the keyboards clattering right now.
There's literally dozens of people eating humongous blocks of cheese while listening to this podcast, desperately trying to dream up bizarro nonsense with us four in it.
I sound like a right dick, even in other people's dreams. Jeez.
Elton, don't worry. I apparently watch films about Nicolas Cage wanking off. So what does that say about me?
You see what they've done there, do you? Do
you see?
But the thing is, she's right. She's right.
Yeah. More
I would pay to see that film.
Knockout.
Yeah.
The
Knockout.
The blind
I love
wanker.
I love it. You knock it. Yeah, exactly. It's a wordplay. Jesus, man.
I don't know. It's just a thing I obviously watched. You know, if I can't see Nicolas Cage wanking off and being a narcissist, what can I do? I mean, you know, my Sunday's ruined. I mean, he's made enough films.
Because you see, like, you know, the joke is, like, you know, that he's a boxer and he knocks out, and of course he's knocking one out. Do you get it? No, shall I explain it again? Right? Okay. He's a boxer. And these boxers, when they win, they normally knock people out, right? And of course, if you're having a wank, you're knocking one out, which is why it's a nice wordplay. Do you get it? Shall I? Let me explain it again. I don't think I'm getting through. Right? Okay.
Are you just bitter because you're the only one who wasn't mentioned in that
I
dream?
wasn't in that dream. I'm upset.
I knew it.
I'm so fucking upset. I think it's a piece of brilliance that I had no involvement in whatsoever. Fuck this shit.
I'll be in my trailer.
Yes, I'm going off. Cheers, O'Deal. Thanks.
O'Deal? You mean Anne-Marie?
Sorry, Anne-Marie. Sorry.
Jesus. That's why you weren't in there.
Oh, fuck it. That's it. I can never go to Birmingham again.
Well, you can't go to Peter Pan's pool either because
no, exactly.
That's it.
No. We discussed this, right? We swore we wouldn't say why on air. Okay.
Yep. Well, there you go. So, yeah, I wasn't going to say this, but obviously Jim Moon's Dreamatorium may return. Jim, you fired this off, mate. You said it.
Christ, there's all going to be all kinds of craziness coming through now, right?
And I remember having a dream where Darren said he was a fish. You can see it. You can see it coming. I'll tell you.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there you go. So, if anybody has any feedback, obviously for this episode or any other episode, by all means, send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Or you can go on the Facebook group and go to Facebook/groups/The Black Dog Podcast. Right. And on that note, we shall draw a veil over this bit of the podcast. Quietly, and we'll come back. We'll come back for the Valentine's Day special, which is the lovely romantic, and deeply, deeply loving Gone Girl. Roll the jingle.
Now it's up to me She's gone. I better learn how to face it. She's gone.
Gone Girl is a 2014 American psychological thriller film directed by David Fincher, written by Gillian Flynn, who also wrote the original 2012 novel of the same name. It stars Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike, Neil Patrick Harris. Well, that's all right then. Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry, and Carrie Coon. Well, that's all right then. And Affleck stars as Nick Dunn, who becomes the prime suspect in the sudden disappearance of his wife, Amy, played by Rosamund Pike. The film premiered at the 52nd New York Film Festival in September 26, 2014, and was theatrically released later that year in October, and was a commercial success. It had a budget of $61 million. How much do you think it made at the box office, Jim?
200 Sony Bravera televisions in a woodshed.
Nice. Elton.
One sneakily hidden box cutter.
Ah, nice. Darren.
I think it made 20 home surveillance cameras and one dodgy-looking Ben Affleck.
Well, you're all wrong. You see, what it was actually a copy of Men from Mars and Women from Venus. That's how much it made. No, actually, it made $369.3 million. There you go. So it did quite well. I don't think there'll be a sequel somehow, but that's just me. So, as ever, we're going to get into spoilers in this film quite heavily, I imagine. So we're going to just do a quick round table. Jim, it's your film, so you go last. Just a quick once over, no spoilers, quick review, and then we'll get right into it. So let's go around the table, and we'll start with you, Elton. What did you think of Gone Girl?
Well, this was my very first time watching this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it caught me in a certain mood or anything like that, or it was the right or wrong time to actually play this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I absolutely flipping loved this from start to end.
Right.
I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I adored this all the way through. Thought this was great. I think I must just been in the right mood for it. But yeah, man, that was good. I knew of I have never seen it, so I never read the books or anything like that. I've seen the recent documentary, and that was mentioned in that quite a few times. The Gone Girl was mentioned in it quite a few times. But apart from that, didn't really know how things played out. But I had a gist, and I was pleasantly surprised and also mildly terrified.
Okay, Darren, what about you?
Well, I've never seen this film before, ever. I don't know how I've managed to avoid spoilers for this film in all this time. But I did up to this point. So I literally went in cold into this film, not knowing that much about it, apart from looking at the poster and having a certain opinion, thinking, I can say generic sort of, detective, police drama type thing. And, by the actual tone of the poster itself, it's just like, that person's guilty. But I've got to say, this film went in a direction I didn't expect.
Okay.
Which was really, really cool. But I've got to say, I really enjoyed watching it. Yeah, and again, I don't know how I avoided spoilers.
Well, that's also why I'm being quite coy with what I'll say with my views, because I think the less you know about this film, the more you'll get out of it, I suspect.
Yeah.
For sure. So, again, if anyone's got any plans of watching this film, literally do not listen to our cast past this mini review bit at the beginning. My opinion. I got a lot of complicated thoughts about this film. It's a well-made thriller. It looks as good as any David Fincher movie, so it does the job. It's very artistically shot. It's very well framed. I had a large number of problems with it in terms of what it was trying to say, which we can't go into because that's spoilers and we're into that stuff. It was a fairly generic thriller with some extra pretensions laid on top. So on the one hand, you can kind of sit there and go, it's a thriller with X, Y, and Z things playing out. And I'd never seen it before. I had no idea what was coming. But by about halfway through, before things started to happen, I was pretty much already on track for where it was going. I found it not as clever as it thought it was. Let's put it that way. And it's not to say it's a bad film. It's just to say that it really, like it caught Elton in the right way, it probably caught me in the very wrong way. I couldn't say it was a bad film. It's not a sort of me sitting there with the Expend4bles going, no, it's fucking rubbish. It's not fucking rubbish. But what it is, it kind of rankled me in a number of ways, and I'll get to that in my bit later on in the spoiler review, because there's just simply no way to talk about it without talking about it, and I don't really want to spoil it for anyone, because this film's obviously done well, and obviously it hits with a lot of people, so fair play. Jim, what about you?
Well, again, I'd not seen this either, so I was quite surprised I'd picked a film that none of us had seen.
Yeah, exactly.
This was sort of quite a big deal at the time. I really enjoyed it, but like yourself, I do have issues, shall we say. And for me, it's a literal 9 out of 10 film.
Oh.
It is 9/10 brilliant, but there's a crucial 10th, which I won't go into now, that it does kind of like a bit like, oh, damn it.
I'd be interested to know if that's the same sort of bits that made me go, damn it, but we'll see.
Yeah, I have one bit that I have questions about, and it's probably exactly the same, but I think I can forgive it for it because I had so much fun with it. So
yeah, well, like I said before, it's not a film I would condemn, but it's certainly a film I wouldn't go back to in a hurry. I'll put it that way. Unlike Expend4bles, which I put on Letterboxd and said I wouldn't see it again even if it cured cancer.
The strong review there.
Well, sorry, Jim.
Couldn't quite get what you were trying to say, really, about that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'd be much disappointed if I had to watch Expend4bles. That was the only option. I've avoided the other three quite successfully.
Yeah. So anyway, right, okay, so let's not beat around the bush anymore. We're going to go through into the spoiler zone. I cannot stress enough on this one not to watch it as blank as you can. Don't go
the less
into the...
you know, the better.
Exactly. Go. It like any good mystery thriller film. The less you know, the more you'll get out of it. Whether or not you come out the end of it going, "Yay, that's a great film," or not is a different question entirely. But it's definitely a film that lives or dies on how much you know. So yes, so do not listen to this going any further if you plan to watch it at all. I'm just going to really put on the old spoiler zone. Here we go. Spoiler zone. Spoiler zone? It's the spoiler zone. Do not go near the spoiler zone. Spoiler zone. Warning. Spoiler zone. Spoiler zone. Right. There you go. I don't think I can put any more of a gap in there. If you're this far along and you're still listening, then you complain to me about spoilers. You can piss off. Right. So, where to start with this one? Right. Okay. So I tell you what's interesting is probably our reactions to the plot as it went along. Okay. I think maybe it might be better to... I don't know how you guys want to sort of go at it, because in many ways, kind of going through the thing and how we felt at certain points might be better than just going, what did you think of this? What did you think of that? And coming up with a bunch of questions. What do you think?
Yeah, I think taking it step by step is probably the best way to unlock it, I think, actually.
Yeah, because I think it's too easy just to go, oh, it was, I thought this, I thought that on one particular character or thing. But as it kind of plays out, it kind of unfolds, and we're going to sort of stop it along there. So the whole film starts off with Ben Affleck, and there he is, and he's pottering around his house, and he goes out and he goes to the bar and he sits down with his sister and has a little drink, and the sister's giving it all the big one about, not liking the wife. And after a while he comes back to the house to find the house has been ransacked. The table's overturned, everything, there's all sorts of stuff going on, and he calls the police. Now, I'm going to stop it there because straight away I was going to say, Darren, you mentioned in your opening review bit that you looked at someone and thought he's guilty.
Yeah.
So can I just say can I just ask straight off the bat, were you, when you saw the house turned over and everything, were you still of that opinion?
I was going in with this. I thought, it's going to be. Am I allowed to say we are in spoilers?
Yeah, we are in spoilers territory.
I was going to say that, just looking at the poster, somebody said to me, "Affleck did it." Right, that's it. Affleck did it. Right. But
it's that glib smile.
It is.
Shit-eating grin.
Something else I have to mention, and this is quite serious. When they open this bit up, when he goes in and he finds that his wife is there, he's not there, and the table was smashed. I thought to myself, I've seen this somewhere before, and then it occurred to me back in 2018. A guy by the name of Christopher Lee Watts killed his wife and children, right? It was known very famously as the Watts family murders. And it started off in very much the same way, with the police calling him in and then coming in and finding out that nobody had seen the wife and children for a while. He'd been apparently away on business. And he just seemed very much the same way that Ben Affleck's character seemed. He automatically reminded me of this guy because of things like not being emotional about the fact that his wife and kids were missing. And it just, that is what I thought about straight away. You can look this up on on Wikipedia, the Watts family murders, but if you see the YouTube video of him with the police as well, because they had the body cam footage of them going through the house.
There's a Netflix documentary as well.
Oh yeah. It's kind of gone really fucking weird and disgusting because he's got like fans. This bloke, it's really, it's like, what the fans? He's got a fan base.
Well, we get to see some of that in this, don't we?
Exactly. There's again, right? There's that kind of thing in this.
But anyway, you were in for the long haul with Affleck's guilty, burn him at the stake.
Well, that's what I thought that it was, you see. And then, of course, later on, you start getting shades of grey start being added to this.
Yeah, but I just because we're going to go through it a little bit at a time, I thought, I just wanted to get just generally everyone's feelings on it, because the thing is, I'll come to my one in a second.
I'll just read the book by its cover. That's it.
Exactly.
I'm judging that from that poster. That's what it looks
absolutely.
like to me.
No, that's fair enough. That's cool, and I guess that's the intention as well. What about you, Elton?
Well, if I hadn't have watched this documentary recently, then I would have been in the situation that you were in, Darren. Definitely thinking that it's Affleck, isn't it? You know, in plain sight, right there and then. That's it. And once you've seen the film, you're like, oh, he's right there all the time. All the signs are there. Of course, it's him.
Yeah.
But I kind of had like a head start on that, and so I was like, okay, right, let's see what they do with this. And was maybe one step ahead of where the audience should have been. Not saying I'm clever or anything like that.
No.
And not saying I've been spoiled or anything, but it was kind of laid out for me already. So, yeah, knew where this was kind of heading up, just intrigued on how we were going to get there and how they were going to do it.
What about you, Jim?
Well, it's one of those, I thought, in these sort of movies, the most obvious person is not the killer. And it was kind of just from the way the disappearance was sort of revealed. It was kind of okay. I don't think he did it, but there's something off about this whole thing. And it was kind of, it just seemed to, as the more it went along, you started getting more and more details. You know, this is something really, really fucked up going on here. But at a certain point, I did wonder kind of, is this all just about a third of the way? I started to wonder, well, actually, I'm judging a lot of this from how we're seeing it being told. Is he playing us? And this is, you know what I mean, all part of his master plan. To get away with murder. But that was only a fleeting thing, really, as that you did, get some meat on the bones of what was really going on.
Because for me, this was the first kind of wrinkle in my brain of this movie, was that it was laying it on too thick. And I was, as soon as the police chief, the police detective comes in and starts marking all these things around his house, I just thought, oh, he's being fitted up here. Because, he didn't know about the mark on the side. He didn't see the things on the pictures standing up and all this kind of stuff. And she was just going around and she was just, and I thought, yeah, here we go. He's being fitted up. And then once we get to the sort of further along, I'm just thinking, oh, come on. I was kind of on the other side. I was like, it's not him. It can't be him. It's not going to be him, because they're laying it on way too thick that it's him. A bit like what you're saying, Jim. It's it's kind of, we've seen this sort of thing before. I mean, how many films have you seen where someone disappears and it's like, we think it's you? Everything was it The Hitcher? When he picks up that girl and then she disappears, and then next thing you know, she's stuck between the truck and the truck and the trailer, and it's like, or and all these kind of little movies where it's sort of like, oh, this person's disappeared and it's obviously the hero, and it's like, well, it's clearly not. So I was a bit kind of already straight away a bit like, nah, hang about. So. I just thought it was laying it on too thick, and it's kind of where my problem started with this all the way through. But we'll go on there. Anyway, so moving along the plot, he, as the film's going on and the forensics are kind of going through his house, we get to reveal that there is this clues that Amy leaves throughout for every anniversary, and the clues slowly lead both Nick and the police to various points in his life, whether it's his office with some panties in a cupboard, panties in a sort of letter drawer, or or whether it's a brown house, there's lots of kind of clues being left about, and it even says in one of it's all on the envelopes. It says clue 1, clue 2, clue 3. Did this point suddenly make you think, hang on? were you suddenly thinking, hold up, does she know she's she's going to be murdered? Is he leaving clues? Is he double crossing us? What are we getting here?
I thought that's what it was. It was her leaving clues for the police, But obviously now it's that whole thing of, going around doing the either anniversary or birthday stuff. This is how she normally does it. Like a little, hide, seek stuff, a little treasure hunt.
But this kind of comes back to what I was saying. I kind of feel like as soon as you start seeing stuff like that, I'm already like, nah, come on. This is laying on way too thick.
See, I think I'm just coming from it from a slightly different angle of why isn't he telling the police this?
Yeah.
I think why is he hiding clue 3? Why is he doing this? Why hasn't he told that policewoman and proven his innocence immediately? I don't understand. What, to cover up an affair? That's it? You're going down, boy.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, exactly. You're going down for murder, and you're worried about people finding out about your little fling. Jeez, no. No, screw that.
Yeah, exactly.
Save your ass.
Exactly. And then you kind of get a bit of a flashback, and you start to get flashbacks to their relationship, to Nick and Amy's relationship, and Amy's relationship with her parents, how finances start to dwindle, that kind of thing. And all the way through, Amy's leaving all these kind of diary entries, sort of spelling out how their fairy tale relationship is slowly turning to shit.
Yeah.
So, what? Again, I know this is just going to be like, what did you think at this point? But the whole idea of the framing device of the flashbacks and all this kind of thing is that. Do you think that's supposed to be is that supposed to be making you feel sorry for her to understand the relationship, or is it again this whole, as you were saying, Jim, an unreliable narrator?
Well, for me, it was kind of as it's unfolding, it's kind of, okay, this is the diary is going to be the device of where we fill in the backstory, which that's an elegant way of doing it, where you can drop in, in little episodes, and it builds up, this sort of, fairy tale romance seemingly, and you okay, well, Christ, what went wrong? Because clearly, from the scene right early on where he walks into the bar, it's kind of you know the relationship's in the pan at that stage.
Yeah.
And that's your starting point. So it's kind of, okay, so what did go wrong and what has gone on? We'll find out. Okay. It's only kind of after a certain point, I started to wonder, is this kosher? Because you get to a point where she's talking about, oh, he shoved me. But there's all these other little things coming up about how her supposed kidnapping, the evidence isn't stacking up.
Yeah.
And you're going, okay, if it wasn't Ben Affleck who murdered her, there's something else going on here on the wonk. And I suspect Amy's actually not been kidnapped at all. And this is a fit-up. And therefore, how much do I trust her version of events she's laying down here?
Yeah.
Because we're getting a version of events and it's not being corroborated by Affleck flashbacks. It's all just from her diary version with voiceover. You go, hang on.
Hang on, something's not quite right here.
It's interesting on how easy it is to believe that he would be the murderer.
Well, this is kind of heading towards my proper wrinkle with this film, but just to kind of wrap up the story, because I think going through it beat by beat now I'm doing it is not necessarily the right way to do it, but just you get to understand that actually Amy has fitted up Ben Affleck. She's not dead, and it's because Ben Affleck's getting it on with Emily Ratajkowski. Is it the supermodel?
Yeah.
One of his apparently 21-year-old college students. With the to quote Rosamund Pike, the "come on me tits." So so then basically it becomes a kind of, okay, what's going on here? It's revealed that Pike is still alive, and it's being sold to us now as it's her attempt to escape a loveless marriage, a trapped environment, lost in this Midwest area, miles away from bustling New York and her family and all this kind of thing. But also that she's got a whole retinue of busted up guys in her wake. To put it mildly. So at this point, once this is kind of revealed, are we still on Ben Affleck? Are we suddenly switching to Ben Affleck's side? I guess is probably the question. Because the film's kind of at this point laid it on thick that he's being fitted up, from the lady at the from his terrible shit-eating grin at the press conference to the lady taking a photograph of him at the rally, to the lady, the pregnant lady going, "What's happened to my friend?" At the stand. So where are you guys with it by that point? Because after that, I think we're just going to go into the themes and all this kind of thing. Because after that, it becomes essentially a standard thriller, to be honest. But what are you thinking at this point? I mean, especially you, Dal, because you had him fitted up from day one. So
I did. So it's very interesting. I did discuss this afterwards with Ree, and she pointed out one or two things about their relationship in general and where it ends up. If we're allowed to talk about this,
we are. Okay, we're in spoilers, right? Man. Serious.
Okay. There's something that that we'll call him Johnny Cochran says. The lawyer.
Chewbacca is a Wookiee.
Exactly, right?
He lives on Kashyyyk.
He's that kind of lawyer, basically. What does he say to them? He says, "You two are you two are fucked up. Oh, this is the most fucked up shit I've ever heard." And there's a reason for that. And I'm inclined to agree with Ray that this is kind of a bit like you see how they are when they get together and they're like, they're fucking in a library and stuff like this. Obviously a bit thrill seekery. And she points it out when she gets back that, she fell back in love with him, but she watched him on the TV doing his thing, and she's like, "I want that, Nick. That's the one I want." And in a way, that's kind of what he's looking for from her, what he actually got, which was somebody to spice up their life again. Now, there is the whole thing about, she threatened that, she said to him, "If you leave me, then you're going to get ruined. But I don't think he tried hard enough to get out of it. I'm inclined to agree with Reeve, but he actually wanted to stay in it. He actually, whether he comes out and admits it or not, by the end of it, he's actually quite happy with the situation.
Really?
I think so, yeah. So they're right. They're both kind of as bad as one another.
Anyone else got
agree on that one?
I was going to say, anyone else
don't
want to
know.
throw in on that? I've got thoughts. I've got thoughts.
I think you're asking me for where it flips. It is kind of, I mean, you do learn that Ben Affleck, hasn't been the perfect husband. He's having an affair with one of his students, which is bad, and it's probably a sackable offence, frankly.
Mm-hmm. Bare minimum, yeah.
Well, more than that.
Yeah. But
In
in
the
the
end,
same, depends what state you're in. If you're under 21, statute rate charge. But that's bad. No question, no wriggle room. He's a naughty boy. However, Amy is fucking off the chart. She is a sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
Affleck is flawed, dumb, your average guy, basically. But he's not the defining moment for Amy, for me, is when she's in that motel and with the trailer trash tramp stamp lady, and she says something about, rich girl, blah, 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 and wanders out the room, and she goes over and gobs in a drink.
Yeah.
But it's more the fact that the more it's sort of, I think it's easy to miss, but it's kind of in that sort of reveal voiceover when she's driving away. She actually kind of says, basically, she's fucking him over. It's not really because of the cheating. It's because he stopped playing the game she wanted and playing this role, which is what she was doing. Which leads me to wonder, kind of, well, at what point did she, basically spurn him and drive him into having an affair? Because it seems to be her big bugbear isn't so much the affair, it's the fact, the selfish bastard, he made the move to Missouri to care for his mother who was dying of cancer. What a bastard. This isn't the story of where I'm amazing Amy and flutting around in New York anymore. And it's at that point, fuck him. And certainly from what we learned from her past exploits, it is that turn on a dime. Right, no. Toys out the pram, I will now destroy you.
Okay, cool. And what about you, Elton? What was your feeling on the whole flip-flop? And then what, as you're watching it?
Well, as I'm watching it, I am in awe of how they actually did the kind of reveal that she is still around. Because I am coming from a slightly different angle than you are because of knowing of hints of what's actually going on. So, the reveal is a very, very slow and drawn out one of her saying about the clues and her floating in the river and you'll find my dead body, and I'm not too sure whether is she gonna kill herself. It sounds like she really wants to kill herself. I don't know, but I'm so confused. But the way that it's drawn out, it's not.
She was going to kill herself.
Yeah,
was she though?
She had it written in a diary. Shall I kill myself today? Shall I kill
down
myself?
4 fucking times on that calendar.
Yeah.
And the only thing that stopped her from doing that was because she got robbed of all her money. That was when her plans changed.
I'm not convinced, because all the serious stuff was in pink, that was in yellow. I think that was just like another game she was playing when she was on the run. I'll kill myself, then he'll go to the chair.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, it's like, oh no, I found another game to play.
But she won't see him go to the chair, will she? So where's the fun in that?
See, here's the thing, right? part of my problem with this film is that it can, for all of its machinations, all of its cleverness, and all of this sort of manipulation and the men is from Mars and women's from Venus kind of discussion that kind of floats around this. I mean, you know, like I said before, this film, as we are recording right now, is actually playing at the Bromley Cinema, which is quite frankly bizarre. And if there is someone from the Picture House in Bromley listening to this podcast, firstly, hello, and secondly, give me free tickets. I'll put them on the podcast and we'll review the films. But
we'll come down and do an episode after the film that you show.
Yeah. If you're that much of a fan, that's great. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. But my problem with this film, and it's kind of been highlighted by kind of the reactions around, is that the movie goes for the easy win every time, and it comes from a perspective which I find a little bit on the wonk generally. And what I mean by that is it goes down, you know, despite all of the stuff that's swirling about, and maybe you guys can talk about this afterwards, because once I've said this, I think I'm just going to roll round over the same old points. But it comes down to this. The film just says all men, as portrayed by this movie, are after three things: sex, money, booze, and that's it. Otherwise, they are lazy, good-for-nothing anybody's, right? And that's it. Those are the three defining factors. They don't give a shit about anything else. It's either sex, booze, or money. Then it just turns on the dime and it just goes, but that's okay, because you know what? Bitches be crazy. And that's the entire thesis of it. It's like, soon as the female TV journalist turns up, and she's you know, who I can't get out of my mind as being the Thermian from bloody Galaxy Quest, goes, so I just keep waiting for her to do that. But she turns up with the dog, and then you know, so it's like, oh, media's a bit crazy as well. Media's actually pushing all of this, and isn't media crazy? And it's just like, oh my god, this film is like 4chan wrote it, because it's like every woman is out to get the men. That's the general thesis of the movie. You know, the Amy's father is an emasculated bloke who's just kind of following behind the powerful woman who's writing these books, and you know, so you know, she's the bitch and he's the nice guy, but he just stays in the background while mum goes and writes about the daughter. Mm-hmm. You've got Ben Affleck by the end sitting there going, okay, I'll stay married to you, which kind of builds into those kind of incel things of, oh, once you're married, you're trapped. Look, you're trapped. That's it. You can't get out of it now. Look at you. You're trapped. You know, and then it's like, oh, and then she magically gets pregnant from the sperm from his donations from somewhere else. And it's like, oh, she's trapped you in marriage. That's it. You're doomed. Doomed, I say. Doomed. And it's just, oh my God, it was just so terribly, terribly frustrating, because there was no nuance to any of it. It was just
too on the nose for you.
Too on the nose, yeah. I mean, like the you know, the ladies, any women in this film are either pregnant, sex objects, or nuts, or all three. And that's it. And the only sympathetic females in the movie are his sister,
yep, and
the police person who is basically written like a guy, because once she sort of breaks the fellowship of, you know, the female fellowship and questions Amy basically just says, oh, you're incompetent, you aren't a person, blah, 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 you're rubbish. And all the men step in and go, yes, Miss Amy, I know you've had a very traumatic time. We'll just take care of this silly woman over here, you know, who's been investigating this thing for the last 4 months. Well, we're just
Go make me a cup of tea, young lady.
Yes, you away in the kitchen, you talking person. You're talking and trying to do thinking and everything. Get out. And
women, know your role.
yes, women, know your limits. And that's the thing. It's so intensely narrow vision. There's no nuance to it. And like I say, Ben Affleck is a womanizing, Xbox loving, boozy geezer who's constantly bemoaning the fact he has no money. And it's like you feel like it's there to make everyone walk out of the cinema and go, see, men.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm
as we roll home after the cinema and turn the Xbox on.
Yes. and say
I did feel as though it was having a go at me at that point.
But the thing
the Xbox.
Yeah. But the thing is then what it does is it forgives him for that. The whole film forgives him. And that's the problem. It
forgives him for something else as well.
It forgives him for the infidelity.
Well, it's not only that, right? And this is something that I feel as though was not made a big enough thing of. The whole thing of no emotion shown throughout any of that missing thing at all. Right? I know they kind of touched on the fact that he smiled when they were taking the picture. Right? Why was not more made of that? His lack of
empathy.
What seemed like or emotional investment.
Because they were arrowing down on the smile. They're not going to turn around and say, "Oh, look how glum he is," when the media can turn around and go, "Look at him smiling in this 1 second photo."
Well, it's not even that. It's before
like
that.
2 frames,
but it happens before that. Right? He brings the police in. Look at his reaction then. He just seems like he's misplaced his wallet somewhere. Yeah. In fact, he's probably got more emotion attached to that than he did with this, and it's kind of like automatically.
Which goes back to my point that they lay it on way too thick that he's as guilty as sin.
Well, I think there's something to say that how do men act in this way? When a woman goes missing, the media will immediately think he's the murderer, and it says this all the way through this up until the point where they kind of know that she's around, and how is he meant to react? Is he meant to play the role of the, oh my God, my baby's gone missing and crying all over the place? I think he's a confused person where he's like, well, I don't know what's going on. I've phoned the authorities to do things right, in the right way, in the right order, so I don't seem suspicious. How am I supposed to react to this? Am I supposed to be frantic about this? And I think he's triple checking himself on that. I think he's checking himself, okay, I mustn't cry too much. I mustn't look too worried, and I mustn't look too keen to join in the search, because they all point the finger at me being the murderer.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that, and that does come up in the film. That is kind of, he's like, how am I supposed to react? Because everything he does, someone go, oh, don't do that, you look guilty.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the third part of my displeasure with this movie. Not displeasure, my distaste at the movie is it's like it goes for the easy things. Oh, look, media manipulates everything, and it's like, yes, we know. You're not telling us anything brand fucking spanky new. You're not suddenly revealing like inner deepest secrets.
But it is revealing it to the people that believe this shit constantly, day in, day out. Us, when we watch the news, let's say we saw a clip of, I don't know, GB News or something like that. We'd all sit here and go, because I think we're in a similar sort of mind frame. We'd all sit there and go, fucking dickheads. Absolute fucking dickheads. But the people that lap that shit up and go and watch a movie and go, oh, the media's turning on him. Oh, I don't like that. I didn't like the way that the media turned on him. How could they do that? And this is made for that type of audience as well. It is tricking them and maybe shining a light on them, going, well, hang on, maybe your real media is doing that. We see that. We see the over the top. Look at him smiling. This is disgusting. How dare they? Well, really, they go into the real news and go, look at Harry and Meghan. Oh, how dare they? Oh, look at them bastards. Fuck them. I hope they fucking run over by a bus. And they go, oh yes, we totally agree with that. But when they see this movie, they're like, oh, hang on. So it might change. Not saying it will change people's minds, but I think it is catering for other people's situations as well.
Yeah, I'd go along with that, actually. Say it's kind of, we're what they call media literate. I mean, we're doing a podcast about films, for Christ's sake, for over a decade.
Well, you say films, some of them don't qualify, I'll be honest.
No, that's true. But I think for a lot of people, this would be an eye-opener because it's too easy. I mean, I think we have a head up because this is about American media in particular, and American TV does stuff, and we have a sort of different relationship with our media. Not necessarily better; it's got its own particular flaws.
Mm-hmm.
But it's we can see the crapulousness of it all because we're one step removed. But as I say, we've got plenty of our own shit that we'll pass native British people by in the same way.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was so much. It would say all men are like this, all women are like this. I think a problem I have with the movie in retrospect is that there's nobody actually very likable in it, which doesn't. I mean, I don't need likable characters, but they just seem to be. I don't know. There's a coldness to it that is a bit kind of. That's a bit chilly. You know what I mean? It's kind of. But kind of interesting. I had a different set of problems.
Yeah.
And my problem is, I think it kind of it gets to a certain point, and it's all been well plotted, well revealed, but then the last act, from when she leaves the hospital, it doesn't know what the fuck it's doing or what ending it's trying to go for.
Yeah.
And
you're gone.
And the logic falls down completely. There's a huge gap of where kind of, I mean, I'm assuming this is a weakness in the original novel. It's not Finchers' fault. You know what I mean? But maybe, honestly, it didn't nail the ending for me. And it was kind of, that's why I say I was with it for 9/10 of the way. And it's the last 10th where it lost me because it's kind of, oh, hang on a minute. Come on. For a start, would they just discharge from hospital and leave her covered in blood?
No.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
Yeah.
She says find the CCT footage. Well, I mean, the footage where it actually shows her going in willingly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a complete lack. Wouldn't they surely investigate and find, and it's probably Neil Patrick Harris, there's probably people who'd be going, I can't believe he'd kidnap and rape someone in his lake hat.
Something
else that day when he was meant to be kidnapping her. You know what I mean? In fact, there's a complete lack of any sort of investigation. Everyone goes, "Oh yes, Amy, that's true," and he's like, "Fuck off!" No, I just couldn't swallow that.
But that's what I'm saying. It kind of it builds into that kind of. There's a certain section of the internet. Let's just put it that way. And I don't want to seem like I'm coming off as some kind of, right-on warrior. I'm just talking about, like, generally speaking, there's a kind of an undercurrent with some of the, like, the memes and the things that you see out there. And it's like there's kind of, you can read between the lines that, women will always be believed. Men will never be believed, I even saw one today on Reddit, which was kind of like called under a Reddit called mildly frustrating, and it's like where someone types into Google, "My girlfriend is hitting me. Is this normal?" And it comes up with something like, "No, this isn't normal. You should talk to her. Maybe try and speak to a counselor," all this sort of thing. And then the guy goes in and types, my boyfriend is hitting me. Is this normal? And then it flips and it goes, "Oh, you must call a rape crisis center," and all this sort of thing. And it comes up on the Google search. It's completely fake. It's completely fake, but no one's going to check that. But the thing is, there was 2,000 replies underneath that thing going, see, fucking double standards. And this movie plays to that audience quite heavily because all the rapes in this movie are faked. All the sort of like marriages are all sham marriages. All the women are nuts and banding together against the poor guy. And the guy's only crime is that he had an affair and he drinks a little too much and he plays the Xbox, but, he's a good guy. It's just like, it couldn't be more sort of leaning into that whole thing of that kind of area of the internet. When you're saying about us being savvy about media, and it's like, yes, we are savvy about media, but we're savvy enough to go, well, that means this and that means this. But for the people you guys are saying that this is aimed at, the people who would go, what, the media's lying to us? I'm shocked. They're going to get this message, which is, women are out to get you, man. They don't want you to play the Xbox. They don't want you to be quiet. They want the women, man. They leave you traps. They leave you traps, and you have to deal with those traps. Because if you don't deal with those traps, they'll be upset, and then they'll blame you for things, and nobody's going to believe you. It's just like, really? Nobody? And the cops straight away, they'll just suspect you, man. Will they? Because I'm pretty sure there are females in prison as well.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. It had this whole thing of those rape myths of rape is fake and all this kind of thing. And especially with the Neil Patrick Harris sex scene, which was led up to by the use of a wine bottle, a knife, and then later on some box cutters and some wire ties, and I'm just sitting there going, oh, really? Are we going there, really? And sure enough, they did. And and again, it's like someone sitting there going, yes, the injuries that she sustained are she has his sperm inside her, and yes, all these things, and it's just like, wow. And that was my problem. So by the time we got to the end, and she's sitting there going, I've trapped you, you're going to stay with me forever, sort of thing, and you're going to do what I do, otherwise I'm going to ruin you, and by the way, we'll have a kid. And it's like, wasn't your entire plan to get away from him? But then it's like, no, she's trapped him in marriage.
There is something else as well. You could have had a sequel to this where they find out that the actual baby was Neil Patrick Harris's, and then Ben Affleck can just go, oh, I see. Well, laters.
Well, that was a whole baby thing was a bit of a confused one for me, because you've got a woman who's been raped in a hospital, who's been missing for however many days, weeks, I forget how long the period was, and she's just miraculously turned up all covered in blood, and when she was disappeared, she was allegedly pregnant. Didn't they check her to see if she was still pregnant or miscarried or anything like that? Nothing was said about that.
No, apparently not. After she kills Neil Patrick Harris, it goes, all that plotting and careful thinking things through we were doing? Doesn't matter now. We're just going to freewheel till we hit some sort of an ending, or we just run out of money and we'll go, that'll do.
Because Ben Affleck does ask a question, how did she get the box cutter to kill him?
Yeah. I mean,
and that's like, oh no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's a rabbit hole. We don't need to. No, let's just close that book. Shh. Close, and be gone. No more.
You see, for me, with this sort of story, it's kind of, I was talking about Teresa. It's kind of, she has this master plan. When she gets to the motel, she's getting cocky, and she gets caught out by the rednecks. And she has to start improvising. And when she's starting improvising, she's making mistakes. And it's kind of, the satisfying end would be see her house of cards come down. in what, not necessarily caught by the police, but you know what I mean. And the ending was going for it was kind of, I'm not sure what the fuck he was trying to say.
No, but that's
and I don't think Gillian Keegan knows. I don't think a publisher knows. I think David Fincher knows. But hey, the book sold a shit ton of copies, so it seemed to work somehow. I just do not know. I'm genuinely baffled because it is kind of, as much as I enjoyed this film, I probably won't watch it again because it's Battlestar Galactica syndrome. It's really great, and the end fucking sucks really hard. But as good as the first 9/10 are, the last 10th is proportionally worse.
But then
the last 10th is as bad as the preceding 9/10s were well done, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, fucking hell, really?
But I was going to say, going back to the thing with the rednecks, I mean, that again plays into this myth, this whole, sort of like persecution myth that certain people carry, because the thing is, she doesn't decide to come back until she runs out of cash. And that's the whole thing, it's that whole myth. She has all the money, she's an independent woman, but when she's got no money, she goes back to a guy. It's just like, oh, for goodness fucking sake. Do you know what I mean? And that's when my brain had checked out at that point. I'm just like, yeah, this could be an episode of Columbo, just with a bit more violence and bit more violence and a bit more manipulation, but essentially it's gone off the range now. It's not as clever as it thinks it is.
There is also, I mean, I know this has been mentioned already, where the supposed rape is concerned, but on a serious note,
times,
yeah, women in this world have a hard enough time trying to get individuals to believe that has actually happened to them anyway, and all this does, as I'm pretty sure you've pointed out in so many words, Lee, portraying this just gives fuel to those incel type of characters to say, look, see women like this, see, not all rapes are true, are genuine, so why should we know there's a possibility they're all lying? And it's like, no.
But that's what I'm saying, because I mean, you have Neil Patrick Harris, who gets spurred and then basically told, fuck off, you're a stalker, and he's a stalker because again, men only want sex, that's it. And then but he gets the money, you see.
Well, he can't help himself but turn up at the vigil.
But then you get the other guy, the little scene nebbish geezer with the glasses, who basically gets date raped, and again she then fakes it so that he raped her to get rid of him, and and then he takes the sex rap just to get out of it, and that's what I'm saying. It's not just the fake rape with Patrick Harris. It's actually, there's another one, and then there's another one, and it's just kind of implied that there are others, and it's just like, yeah, to me it felt like a film which came straight out. Felt like a film plot that came straight out of one of those trashy sort of like newsagent mags that say, oh, I had 24 children with my own sister on the front cover and shit like that. It just feels like it's feeding in myth to an audience that already has made its mind up. And at the start, it was a much cleverer film, but it just goes straight off the range just to basically cement a load of conspiracy theories for a bunch of internet incels, really.
Darren,
sorry, go on.
You said at the beginning that you think he wants to be with her by the very end.
Well, that's a suggestion, I think, more than anything else. I don't know. It's that it's what he says to her when she comes back. You bitch. It's, I don't know. It's
that's her revenge. That's her revenge to trap him in marriage. It's like, really?
But that's before she's even said anything about that. right? This is what his knee-jerk reaction is that to her
But
coming back.
Hasn't he got all the proof that she's been fucking around?
Yeah.
She's left a trail of men behind her. He's got all the
One's dead.
statements of buying all the stuff and then storing it in the sister's woodshed. All that stuff's there. See, the problem is, at any point, he could have turned around and said, right, okay, I've got clue 3. I went to the house as well. Because he got clue 2 from his room. They saw that, didn't they? He went to the house and found clue 3, hid that, didn't say anything to the police, and then went to the shed. 2 times, he could have turned around and said, guys, after the police, that lady that's been helping me, I found a clue, and also shed full of stuff. We haven't touched it, but you're welcome to go in there. Maybe there's some fingerprints, or I don't know, on the TV or the drone that she bought us. And there's all this paper trail proving that I don't know if it's him doing the spending or what, but there's proof there. There are items there.
You see, Elton, that's the problem. The police won't believe him because he's a man.
Oh, because he's had an affair, isn't he?
Because he's had an affair.
And so he's untrustworthy.
See, that's
Do you
what
know
I'm
what?
saying.
This has all the markings of a Colleen Hoover novel. I'm just thinking about it. This is an author that's regularly. There are loads of people ripping on this author because of some of the absolutely terrible books she writes. I've listened to one bloke dissect this book for about 2 hours. I think he did a dissection of one of her novels, and what you see in this film kind of sounds like what this author writes in her books. They're awful. They're just about awful people, most of them. I think she did one good novel and that was it. But especially, what was that? The 9th of November, one particular novel which comes to mind. It's the whole thing about this, like you say, Lee, the whole thing about, he's evil because he's a man and he's done this, right? There's no shades of grey there. Obviously, he is bad because he has done this and that he's bad through and through. Her books are kind of like that. It's really, I'm seeing all the reflections of this in stuff like those books. It's wow.
I mean, let me just balance this out by saying, there's place for fantasy in either direction. There's your male action fantasy where every muscly bloke walks in with a machine gun, kills 20 people, and a lady falls into his arms and goes, "Oh, take me," and all this sort of thing. So, it works both ways. But the point is that this movie is selling itself as something it ultimately isn't. Mm-hmm. And even when it came out, I remember there was the whole discussion of, can you trust your partner? Can you trust your spouse? And it says a lot of things about relationships of men and women. And then there's this whole thing of, I don't want to just become that couple that just sits there going, what you're thinking? All this sort of thing. It's like, wow. So you throw a couple of generic epithets in that everyone's said at some point in time, and then you think you're suddenly the amazing novel on a study of on gender studies. It's just like, you're not. It's just, you're just feeding into a fucking line of bullshit, and it's just, and it irritated me intensely from the moment it started to do that whole thing of, well, he's a man, so he must be suspicious, but you know what? He's actually okay because all he wants is a bit of pussy and some Xbox. It's like,
although in fairness, there is no police station. It's police saying that when a wife disappears, it's usually the fucking husband who's done it.
Yeah, which is fine.
I can, a certain amount of that, the police's attitude, I do understand because it is kind of, they've seen this dozens of times before, and it's kind of.
Yeah, but then you've got the police person who's doing the actual detecting on it, who's saying, until I see a body, I don't believe any of it.
But it's like when she follows, where my problem sort of starts, where she finds that slightly singed diary. It's like, what was going on there? Come on.
Yeah, come on, seriously. You wouldn't just leave that thing running. And that's the thing. It's just conspiracy theory. It's just a movie of conspiracy theory, which is fine if that's what you're in for, but don't sell it to me as some kind of, version of Seven or Fight Club or some kind of, Train Spotting-esque kind of dive beneath the deep and grim underworld of male female relationships and their interplay. It's not. It's just a fucking standard missing persons thriller double cross that's been seen in 1,000 other movies. But now what we've got is a really good director, a fantastic cinematographer, some nice music from Trent Reznor, and some conspiracy theory bollocks right through the middle of it, so that a bunch of people on the Reddit can go, "See, told you, bitches be crazy." You know, it's just like, oh, come on. But anyway, sorry, I did say I'll just roll over that same sentence over and over again, so I'll leave it to you guys from here on in. Just to me, I was just like, I'm out. That's it.
So, okay, films like this, then, are they bad? Because I don't, when we watch a crap movie or a shit movie, and I'm like, oh, I really don't get that, and then we speak about it, and I enjoy it a lot more when we discuss it and talk about certain things, and it kind of goes up the pecking order. This, it's still, like, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. The time I spent with it, I thought it was brilliant. I know I will watch it again, because now I can follow it all the way through and see little things.
Yeah.
But is it bad to make movies like this so you get the people on the internet going, oh, see, men are bad, women are bad, I can't trust all these bitches, this isn't fair, these bastards, they should cheat on you and that's it, they just want sex and that's it, screw all men. Should we not be making films like this, or should we have like a spectrum of all different films so we can all discuss, or what?
Well, the thing is, don't to generalise, all generalisations are bad, even that one. But the people who draw out these elaborate conspiracy theories from movies will find things that aren't there or
in
are
all
there.
movies.
It doesn't matter. Just have to watch the film about The Shining.
Oh God, Room 237.
Yeah. The Minotaur. It's a Minotaur. Not bloke on skis, it's a Minotaur.
There's the CGI
Minotaurs don't ski. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Come here, I've got a slap for you.
Yeah.
They couldn't get into the resort.
Yes. There's the
Have you got your pass, sir?
There's the picture of Stanley Kubrick in that cloud that's been CGI'd in there. CGI, what, in the 1980s? CGI in the 1980s couldn't even make a planet. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Go on, Jim. Carry on.
Once as a creator, once you've done something, you let you loose into the world, people are going to interpret it this way, that way, and it's amazing how people can take the same thing and interpret it to mean two entirely different, in fact, opposite things.
Yeah.
People can do that if they want to play that game. I think the thing with this is I don't think he was really trying an agenda. It's just lazy writing at the end of the day. And that with a different ending, with a proper last act, it might actually be able to actually say something about a relationship. In the end, it sort of doesn't. And because it doesn't have it's not a story with a proper end. It's a good plot line, but there's no proper real resolution, I don't think.
So why doesn't he leave her?
I feel kind of like like J.K. Simmons at the end of Burn After Reading. So, what have we learned? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, the thing is, the film I come back to that we've reviewed maybe about a year ago was Denis Villeneuve's what was it, Prisoners, with Hugh Jackman and is it Gyllenhaal?
Yeah,
yeah, that had a similar kind of idea. That someone had gone missing. It was a kid. There was a guy who was a bit strange on the block, so everyone suspected him. But there was also a suspected paedophile on the block who hadn't been revealed, and could it have been him? But the thing is, what that did was that targeted the preconceived notions that we all had as an audience. We saw a Paul Dano going around looking slightly furtive and kind of weird, and we go, it's him. He's the weirdo on the block.
He's a wrong un.
He's a wrong un. And then we're along for the ride with Hugh Jackman, because Hugh Jackman's obsessed father trying to find the kid, and he's looking at this guy going, he's a wrong un. and you're not listening to the Jake Gyllenhaal guy going, no, come on, let's just find out who it is. Let's find the kid first, That sort of subtlety and that kind of nuance isn't in Gone Girl, but it is essentially the same movie. That someone goes missing, it all looks a bit sus. You have a very obvious bad guy or a very obvious person who's done the wrongdoing, and you're sitting there looking at them going, it's you, it's fucking you, it's really you. And then the film goes, ta-da, actually, you were wrong, and whips it away from underneath you, and you're sat there with your own preconceptions going, ooh, oh, fuck, I've been hoisted by my own mental petard. I was looking at this guy thinking he was the bad guy, and he wasn't, sort of thing. Gone Girl does the same thing, but the problem is that Gone Girl does it in the bluntest way possible all the way through, but just shoots it in a nice way to make you think, oh, this means something. And, to answer your question, that doesn't mean to say you shouldn't make it. You shouldn't make movies with, piss poor writing but lovely shot, or with, agendas or whatever you want to call it. That's not really a bad thing. Go and make it. Obviously, I'm in the wrong here because the film made fucking 5 times its budget back. Obviously, everyone went to see it, and it's being shown at the cinema right now. So
well, it's made for the masses, isn't it? Look at Prisoners. You couldn't say that was, even though it looked beautiful and you got stunning actors all the way through it. It was like a 9 out of 10 movie, wasn't it? When we reviewed it,
yeah,
absolutely brilliant. But it's not a
commercial movie.
A popcorn, fill out the cinemas day in, day out for 3 weeks. No. Whereas this is like media. Oh, there's a book. Oh, wow, we can read the book as well. Oh, that's great. This is more like a water cooler movie.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it wound me up no end, but that doesn't mean to say it's a bad film. It just means to say it's not a film I particularly like.
That's because we're ponces and we dissect these sort of things. That's what we're here for.
That doesn't. No, I just slightly disagree, because you enjoyed the film, and Darren enjoyed the film up to a point, and so did Jim. So it's not a poncy thing. It's more you see something in it you'd like or you don't.
I know, but maybe I'm just talking from my own perspective, but I like to twiddle my moustache and go, okay. I'm a bit more cleverer than you when we was watching this.
Okay, you're a ponce.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks very much. And next week we'll be reviewing... Sorry. Yeah, go on. Sorry. Go on.
No, that's the way I feel sometimes. I'm not looking down on anyone or on anything. I flipping love this, every single frame of it. And I agree with you, Jim, about the ending, maybe a kind of treading water towards the very end, like the last third.
It's very baggy. I think even going for this kind of, you should this deal with the devil, it's kind of, because, Tyler Perry says you should thank her, you've got a fortune, blah, blah, blah. And it is kind of like, you put up with that and live in terror, because if she thinks you're not playing the game again, you're going to end up as cat food.
Yeah.
But it's too baggy to pull that sort of stinger off. And it's a film, because it has so many twists and turns, you need a big sting at the end. And that's my problem with it. He didn't deliver, and it's kind of, how is everyone just forgiven this rubbish, this nonsense?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? It's kind of falling at the last hurdle. I mean, I did enjoy it, but it is one of those, the more I think about it, the more I think on, hang on, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the plot and the state of her faking a disappearance, and the fact they had the whole idea that, she's lived in the shadow of this fictional character, and her parents have a hell of a lot to answer for. Is very interesting, and ultimately the film doesn't really explore that. It doesn't go into that territory, and that's where it should go at the end when the House of Cards comes down.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You say,
Ben Affleck does actually point something out. You know, he goes up to the parents and goes, "You must be really proud." And he says it in a way that everybody listening to it thinks he's paying them a compliment, when actually it's a bit of a fucking slap across the face.
Yeah. But you know, there's a lot more material there, though, because she is kind of one of my sort of tinfoil hat questions is, at what point did Amy decide, right, I'm torpedoing this marriage? I think it would be before he'd even had the affair. I think it was when they moved away from New York. He was, I'm not going to. He's not the man I married. He's miserable. He's wonder why that could be.
Well, she did say
that. Fuck off.
She did say that she felt like a possession just brought along and maybe dropped later on.
But that's from the diary that's left there as a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the unreliable narrator thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
even that though, because it's like she's not like a supervillain, because that is flawed. Because anyone reading the go, well, hang on. In fairness, love, he was moving to care for his mum who's dying from cancer. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's not all about you.
Well,
that's the problem, though. That's the interest. Because Amy, there isn't a real Amy. It's a series of roles she's playing. And that's the only way she understands reality, is she plays a certain role. And if other people aren't playing the game, well, you just take them off the board, you break them, you gob in their tea. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nothing is real. I'm not real, so no one else is.
You're not real? Oh, shit.
AI.
Fucking EV. We've been getting EVP from the other side.
But one question I was, why didn't he just leave her at the end? He had so many opportunities. He can just go. And I don't see the hold that she has.
Well, the baby's the hold. Because he's kind of has something he's very sort of, you know, sort of conflicted about. And when it turns out it is his, well, it is his baby or not, but you know what I mean, that she kept the sample and there can be the baby, and it's kind of bollocks. but
also there's the whole thing that he said that he'd leave as soon as the cameras went away, but the cameras never went away.
No,
and that was and she made damn sure that there was people always around. That there's that she became essentially America's sweetheart. They got all the books and all the notoriety, and the only time when really Ben Affleck's kind of punished for being who he is the fact that he does, as Darren, as you point out, he is certainly up to a point complicit at the end, because you see all the, he's a writer. He wants notoriety. He wants to be out there. He wants to be famous. That was his whole thing. And then all of a sudden he's in magazines, he's in books, he's doing interviews, he's on TV, all this kind of thing. So he does become trapped, but he becomes, as you say, Dow, he becomes willingly trapped because he's in a gilded cage. He's got the fame and the fortune and the money and the notice, but the problem is now he's so in focus of everyone that he can't leave. It's like let's put it this way, put it into current news cycle. If Prince Harry was to leave Meghan Markle tomorrow, how do you think that'd go down?
I reckon lots of people would rejoice.
Maybe, but do you not think that, say, for example, your Meghan Markle might turn around and go straight to her friend Oprah? Or, Prince Harry might end up being hounded by the American press for 1,000 years until he eventually goes back to the UK. All I'm saying,
definitely, yeah.
But all I'm saying, that it's that situation. He's Ben Affleck's character is in a situation where to leave would be immensely painful and difficult to do because you're so in the public eye. And the public's turned away from you because they hated you because they thought you murdered someone. And then when it's come back and they've made it into a romance and a redemption story, he's bought into that because it got him out of the basically an lethal injection, as he said.
I'll be sleeping behind a locked door. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what? When she first came back to the house and he left her in the bedroom, I sat there and I just said out loud, I said, lock the door. And that was it. That was what he did. And me and we both had a good giggle at that. It was, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, cool. I mean, I was gonna say something, and now my brain's completely lost it. But anyway, has anyone got anything additional they'd like to throw in to this discussion?
No, I don't think so. I thought the cast was really good all the way through.
Yeah,
I still enjoyed it. So yeah,
and you know what? Like I said, I don't see a problem with people enjoying this film. I'm not going to stand in judgment of anyone enjoying this film. I know. Anyone who enjoys Expend4bles, that's different. I will judge you until the day I die. You will be judged. And at the pearly gates, you will be judged going, you paid money for this willingly, really. Mm-hmm. But no, as far as this goes, I mean, it's just to me, it was just a bit internet baity. But anyway, I digress. Right, so overall, Gone Girl, mainly thumbs up, me being the grump in the corner.
As usual.
Yeah, nobody puts Grumpy in the corner. And obviously it's on Netflix. Was it Netflix we watched it? Yeah, Netflix.
Yeah,
It's on Netflix if you want to watch it.
I think it's on Disney as well.
Yeah, and it's on Disney, yeah. Because Disney's the home of wholesome family entertainment. And yes, if you want to watch the film by this point and you haven't had it spoiled for you, and you want to send in feedback, do so in the usual channels, which is the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast, or over on the emails by sending it into feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, which is obviously both of those are access to our Dreamatorium apparently as well. Yay, Dreamatorium. So, yeah, so that's that. Before we go into what's going to be next week's movie, I think I did forget last time to do a phrase. I did forget to do a phrase. So, I'm going to try and come up with a phrase right now just by looking at icons on my desktop.
Oh God!
I think that's probably the best way of doing it. I don't think there can be anything wrong with doing that. I'm going to look at four. I'm going to look at 4 icons, and one says. So here we go. So one says "Don't listen." The next one says "Back to the fucker." The next one says "Roboplop," and then Zool. So what are we going to do there? So "Don't listen." Back to Roboplop. There you go. Don't listen. Back to Roboplop. If you've got this far, that's the caption. Don't listen. Back to Roboplop. Roboplop. Can you tell it's late and I've run out of ideas? Yes, I have.
Nothing about Mountain Dew and spit or anything like that. No.
Actually, I tell you what. Yeah, we could double whammy it if you like. If you want to spin it around, don't spit in my Mountain Dew. There you go. There's the phrase. There's the phrase for you. Don't spit in my Mountain Dew. See, now we can really tell who's got to the end, because if they done Roboplop, we know they stopped early.
Yeah, you losers.
If they go, don't spit in my Mountain Dew, there you go. That's the phrase. That's the phrase that pays. Please no, does not pay. Right, we'll move on. go to next week's movie, which is your choice, Elton. So what are we doing, sir?
Oh my word. Okay, so I was going to carry on the theme that Jim started. A couple of weeks ago, he started a theme of, well, he did Snowpiercer, and so I did the platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like a compare contrast. And then last time out, I forget what it was. Oh, it was Saltburn. And then we did The White Tiger.
That's right.
And Jim has just done Gone Girl. And so I was going to do Gone in 60 seconds. But I've changed my mind.
Are we back to Anne-Marie's dream about Nick Cage wanking off into a screen?
I've only changed my mind because I thought that was a great thing to do. But I've only just seen this, and this film is on Amazon Prime.
Oh God, I think I know which one you're going to choose.
Oh lordy, go on.
I don't think you do.
You've seen this suggested. You saw this suggested on Facebook, didn't you? Somebody's mentioned the film. I noticed. That's this is on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay, this might be interesting because I don't think it is.
Okay.
No,
no.
I'm rushing as fast as I bloody well can to the Facebook group. I need to get the drop on this. Oh, okay, yes. Go on.
Page down now.
This goes back to
Is it the Stuck on Eagle on the Planet of the Apes poster?
No, it's not. No.
Go on, carry on, Elton.
No. This goes back to when I was at school, and there was a film that did the rounds, and me and my mates watched it many, many, many times. And
we are not doing Electric Blue Volume 9. I'm telling you now.
Reader's Wives, number 38.
There's a whole wanking in a cupboard thing going on here, isn't there? That's what it is. Nicolas Cage, it's not Carradine, it's Nicolas Cage wanking in a
and
cupboard.
I went down the local alley and found my own copy.
We found it shit-stained, covered in a bush in the local park. Yeah, go on.
Ah, screw it. Right, this film's from 1991, and it's called Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers.
Yeah. It stars
Sean Martika. No?
Sean Astin, Will Wheaton.
Wheaton?
Will Wheaton.
Why do you have to?
Yeah.
Wheaton.
He's got the H in there.
Toy Soldiers. Is this the one with the mechanical Tommy Lee Jones as a robot toy?
No, that's
Small Soldiers.
Small Soldiers.
Soldiers, yeah.
No, this is Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers, and as Darren says, it has nothing to do with Martika singing.
I don't even know what a Martika is.
Step by step, heart to heart.
Is that like
We'll
a
fall
doggy?
down like Toy Soldiers? No.
Okay, Toy Soldiers. A group of troublemaking boys decide to take a stand when terrorists seized control of their boarding school.
Oh, so it's Red Dawn.
Oh,
Right,
my God.
okay.
Has anyone seen this film?
No. Be serious. Fucking.
I'm not entirely sure. This might be what I don't think I have, but just looking at the synopsis, there might be just the tremor that might be a flashback in the back of my mind. Possibly, I just saw the trailer at the start of numerous VHS.
Oh yes, I think it was. Yeah,
possibly. But oh dear.
Darren, have you seen this?
No.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, there we go. Yeah, I haven't seen this since when I was at school, so this is going to be. I'm taking the rose-tinted specs off. Man, this is going to be a hard hit. I know it is.
Well, according to Amazon Prime, it is action, drama, gritty, thrilling.
Yeah, let's not get carried away here because our friend Amazon
I think
Prime,
we should mark this film on those 4 criteria next week.
Amazon Prime put Evil Dead down as an emotional film, so let's just back that one up a little bit.
What year did this come out?
1991.
Oh, right, okay.
Will Wheaton really cashing in on these next generation credentials there.
Kids do die hard then. Yeah.
There is I'm literally looking at a trailer on the header of IMDb, and there appears to be an Apache AH-64 gunship sitting outside of a helicoptering outside of a school.
I know, how awesome is that?
And there also appears to be a dozen bad guys that I've seen in a dozen different episodes of Knight Rider. Wow. Yeah. This is well done, Elton. Just well done. I'm genuinely speechless.
You're welcome.
Oh well, here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Toy Soldiers. That's a thing, and we will be watching it. We watch Samwise Gamgee and Wesley Crusher die hard around a school.
Stand by me.
Stand, Die Hard by Me. Yes.
Yep.
Right, that's it. So we'll leave it there. We'll head on over to Pimp's Corner and find out what's happening at Hypnagoria Towers. Jim, what's going on with you, sir?
I'm just collecting my thoughts after that shocker.
Good Lord.
Yes, what am I doing? Christ, I have no idea. So
Terrified.
Oh, it's Valentine's Day, I remember. Yes, tomorrow. Or now, as you're listening now. The Commentary Club traditional, wildly inappropriate Valentine's Day film episode will be out. Which is a film we've covered on this show, actually.
Oh, yeah.
The Trip, starring Rumi Face from 2021.
Nice. I love that movie. That was so good. Okay. Nice. That's really good. That's a suitable Valentine's Day movie for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as Gone Girl.
Well, we had quite a double bill at the weekend, really. With the Trip Saturday night, Gone Girl Sunday night.
Jesus Christ.
Monday night, we had to do an old Japanese monster movie just to balance the force again.
Yeah. I was going to say, Teresa didn't just stand there and just say, "Are you trying to tell me something?" Oh, dear. Okay, cool. So that's all over at hypnagoria.com.
It is indeed.
Brilliant. And what about you, Elton? What's happening with you, sir?
You can catch me and Andy talking about Masters of the Air over at Masters of the Air podcast, which is on Rogue 2 Media. And all other places that you download podcasts.
And all good bookshops.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. Darren, are you... I always ask, I always get the same answer, but Darren, Are you doing anything at the moment? Are you appearing on any podcast or any media of any kind apart from this?
No, I'm not. That's it.
Okay.
I'm bereft of anything apart from this podcast.
You're available for weddings, bar mitzvahs.
Yep.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Well, again, I'm not doing anything apart from this. Though I don't think Andy's uploaded another Great Derelict, so I'm also on the Great Derelict's last week's episode, which you can find over at greatderelict.libsyn.com, talking about up and coming films and TV and games 2024. So that's that. Right. I think we'll leave it there. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And thank you all for listening to this long podcast. And we shall see you all next week for Master Frodo. I will climb up this hill and fight those bad guys in the helicopter. They won't stop me delivering my homework. Toy soldiers. So until next time, take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Shut up, Wesley.
Oh, bollocks to it.